Welcome to the lecture of multiple linear regression model, and we have discussed what do you mean by your beta cap, that is regression coefficient, in terms of matrix notation. Okay, so in multiple linear regression model, suppose we have p plus 1 variables total, in which y is your dependent variable and x1, x2, xp are p independent variables, which we also call it as regressors, and y depends on x. Now, in the last lecture, we have estimated beta cap is equal to x prime x inverse x prime y. So, when we compute beta cap with the help of n p plus 1 paired observations, then we can obtain beta cap by using our least square method. Now we will discuss some properties of beta cap. The property number 1 is beta cap is an unbiased estimate of beta. So beta is your population regression coefficient. It is a vector of p plus 1 items. Okay. So let us have proof of this particular statement. When we call beta cap as is an unbiased estimate of beta, one has to prove that expected value of beta cap is beta. Okay. Now, as earlier stated, our beta cap is x prime x inverse x prime y. And what is my y? My regression equation of y on x, where x is a matrix, y is equal to x beta plus epsilon. Epsilon is error component. This is my model. Okay. Now, for this y is equal to x beta plus epsilon, I will write, and my beta cap is equal to x prime x inverse x prime, and instead of y it is x beta plus epsilon. Now let us separate these two terms. So x prime x inverse x prime x beta plus x prime x inverse x prime epsilon. Now when I take expected value of beta cap, I need to find out. Now if you look at this, x prime x inverse x prime x. So x prime x inverse x prime x is your I. Okay, and therefore I have expected value of beta plus x prime x inverse x prime expected value of epsilon, because this is treated as constant, and therefore this is beta plus expected value of epsilon is 0, because this is our model assumption that expected value of beta is always equal to 0. Therefore expected value of beta cap is beta. Therefore we say that beta cap is an unbiased estimator of population regression coefficients beta, where beta is a vector of order p plus 1 by 1. Now the property number 2 is the variance covariance matrix of beta cap is given by variance of beta cap is equal to sigma square into x prime x inverse. Now in order to prove this, now my beta cap is x prime x inverse x prime y. So when I say variance of beta cap, that means variance of x prime x inverse x prime y, I need to take this variance in matrix notation like this. Say x prime x inverse x prime as it is, then I need to write variance of y, and since the constant term, when we take outside the variance sign, it has, where one has to make square of it, therefore in matrix notation it should be x, this x as it is, x prime x inverse, and we know that variance of y is sigma square for all I equal to 1 to n. Therefore this variance of y I will write it as sigma square I, where I is n by n identity matrix. Okay, so all diagonal elements of variance of y is sigma square, and non-diagonal elements are 0 0 0. Okay, so since this sigma square is outside, I will take outside of this matrix, and therefore sigma square x prime x inverse this x prime x and this x prime x inverse as it is. Further, x prime x inverse x prime x is I. Therefore, sigma square I x prime x inverse, and therefore variance of beta cap is sigma square into x prime x inverse. Okay. So in this way, we can show that the variance covariance matrix of beta cap is sigma square x prime x inverse. Now, how to obtain estimate of sigma square? See, this is your population variance sigma square, and we already proved that epsilon I is error component follows normal distribution with mean zero and variance sigma square. So sigma square is a population quantity, and we estimate it from the model as it is. So sigma square is estimated by using residual sum of squares. Okay. So residual sum of squares is nothing but summation I taking value from 1 to n yi minus yi cap square. So yi minus yi cap is your error in estimation, which we call it as EI. So it is summation I is equal to 1 to n EI square, which we can write it as E prime E, where E is a vector of order 1 by n, and E prime is a vector of order 1 by n, and E is a vector of order n by 1. So E prime in E is a summation of EI square I is equal to 1 to n. That in matrix notation you can write it like this. Now what is your E prime? What is your E? E is y minus x beta. Y cap is y minus x beta. Okay. So here I will write EI is residual corresponding to the ith observation, and therefore sum of the squares of residuals is this yi cap. Yi cap is x beta cap as given by the regression equation. So y is equal y minus x beta prime y minus x beta. Okay. So this is error in estimation. Now if I take this prime inside, it is y prime minus beta cap prime x prime and y minus x beta as it is. Here I have written that E is equal to y minus x beta because y cap is x beta. Okay. So it is y prime y minus y prime x beta cap minus beta cap prime x prime y plus beta cap prime x beta cap. Okay. Just have a simple multiplication of these two brackets. Now if you look at this, what is your y prime? Y prime is 1 by n. X is n by p plus 1, and beta cap is p plus 1 by 1. So if you try to see this particular thing, this is your scalar. It is of order 1 by 1, and similarly this also a scalar of order 1 by 1. So you can add these two things to have minus 2 times beta cap x prime y. See here beta prime has order 1 by p plus 1, x prime has order p plus 1 by n, and y has order n by 1. So these two are scalars. You can add these two scalars to write 2 times beta cap x prime y plus beta cap x prime and x, and this beta you can write it as beta cap, you can write it as x prime x, x prime y. Lecture. So this is y prime y minus 2 beta cap prime x prime y. Now if you take see this x prime x inverse, this becomes I of order n, and therefore this is of order p plus 1 I, and here it is I multiplied by x prime y is simply beta cap x prime y. Okay. So now these two things are same and you can add them, and here there is 2 times this and 1 time this. Therefore the final answer is residual sum of squares will be y prime y minus beta cap prime x prime y. Now how many parameters we are going to estimate in this model, regression model? P plus 1, beta naught and beta 1, beta 2 up to beta p. Therefore, total p plus 1 parameters are estimated in this regression model, and therefore residual sum of squares will have n minus p plus 1, that is n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom. Okay, and therefore we can obtain mean residual sum of square, that is ms residual is equal to residual sum of squares divided by respective degrees of freedom, that is n minus p minus 1, and therefore we can easily show that expected value of mean residual sum of squares is equal to sigma square. So this particular proof is not expected from you, so you have to remember this term as it is, that is expected value of mean residual sum of square is sigma square, and therefore an unbiased estimator of sigma square is sigma square cap is equal to mean residual sum of squares is equal to residual sum of squares divided by n minus p minus 1. So this is the estimation of sigma square with your regression model. Okay. Now once we can obtain the estimate of variance of sigma square, we can obtain interval estimation of our regression coefficients. Okay. Now we know that our beta cap is estimated value of regression coefficients from the model is x prime x inverse x prime y, which is a linear combination of observations of y. Okay, because we are in the first assumptions we noted that these x are somewhat constants and therefore treated as constant. Therefore x prime x inverse x prime y, we can write it as, therefore beta cap is linear combination of y. Okay, observations. Further, beta cap is normally distributed with mean beta and variance covariance matrix sigma square x prime y x, which we have proved here, isn't it? See, we have proved that variance covariance matrix of beta cap is given by variance of beta cap is sigma square into x prime x inverse. Okay. Now when you try to find out marginal distribution of any regression coefficient beta I cap, then beta I cap follows normally distributed with mean beta I, which is corresponding regression coefficient in the population, and variance sigma square CII. Now CII is a diagonal element of x prime x inverse matrix. Okay. So actually it is I plus 1th I plus 1th diagonal element, because your first beta 1, the first regression coefficient is beta naught, then beta naught, beta 1, beta 2 up to beta, actually it is p plus 1. Okay, and therefore CII corresponding to bith, that is I plus 1th diagonal element of x prime x inverse, because your x is n into p plus 1 by matrix, and therefore x prime x is p plus 1 by p plus 1 matrix, and therefore x prime x inverse is also p plus 1 by p plus 1 matrix. Okay. Further, we can show that the distribution of beta I cap is a t distribution with mean beta I and variance with variance sigma square CII. Okay, so this we can prove like this. This is standard error of beta I cap, and this thing happen for I is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to p. Okay, so here t follows t distribution with n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom. So this can be also proved by your inference. Okay, so sigma square cap is, we know that it is estimated by mean residual sum of squares, which is equal to residual sum of squares divided by n minus p minus 1, and which is estimated from this is estimated variance through errors. Further, 1 minus alpha percent, 1 minus alpha into 100%, it should be 100%, 1 minus alpha into 100% confidence interval for your beta I can be obtained using the same thing here, that this beta I cap minus beta I upon root of sigma square cap CII follows T distribution with n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom. So probability that your calculated value of t, that is modulus of t, is greater than t n minus p minus 1 alpha by 2, this probability is equal to alpha. So this is stable value of t for n minus p minus 1 degree of freedom and at alpha percent level of significance. Okay. So instead of t, I will write the test statistics beta I cap minus beta I upon under root of sigma square CII. So it is in modulus sign. Okay. So when we are going to read of this modulus sign, I need to write minus of t is less than or equal to this thing is less than or equal to t n minus p minus 1 alpha, and this probability is actually equal to 1 minus alpha. Okay, because I am reversing this particular greater than or equal to sign, therefore one has to write it here 1 minus alpha. Now just solve this equation for your population regression coefficient beta I. So let us take this sigma square cap CII on this side and this side. So I have this type of linear equation. Again, since I am going to find the interval for beta I cap, let us take beta I cap on the left hand side as well as right hand side. So it will be minus beta I cap minus t n minus 1 n minus p minus 1 alpha by 2, and this particular thing sigma square cap CII is less than or equal to minus beta I is less than or equal to, let us take this beta on the left hand side. So it is minus beta I cap plus this thing t n minus p minus 1 alpha by 2 sigma square CII, and this probability is equal to 1 minus alpha. Now again if I write if I multiply throughout by minus 1, I have to again change these signs. Okay, so if I multiply here by minus 1, here I will have plus sign, that will go on the right hand side, and if I multiply here by minus 1, this beta 1 become plus and this term will be negative here. Since I am multiplying it by minus 1, I have to reverse the inequality, and therefore 101 minus alpha percent level confidence interval for beta I is beta I cap minus t n minus p minus 1 alpha by 2. So this is stable value of t at n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom and with probability alpha by 2, and this we have estimated from residual mean sum of squares, and CII is I plus 1th element, diagonal element of x prime x inverse. Okay, so in this way we can obtain confidence interval for beta I cap. So once we have model and once we go for interval estimation of beta I cap, there is always one question, that is how to assess the adequacy of the model. Means after fitting the model, one has to check whether this model is adequate or proper. Is these regressors which we are going to consider in regression analysis, that is capital X1, X2, Xp, are really important in estimating the value of yi. Such type of questions can be analyzed through assessing the adequacy of model. So in order to assess the adequacy of model, there are three different criteria. The first one is carry out the analysis of variance, that is ANOVA. Carry out ANOVA, then carry out a simple test for your regression coefficient beta I, because we know that this t is equal to beta I cap minus beta I upon square root of sigma square into CII. This follows t distribution with n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom. By considering this fact, we can check the significance of your regression coefficients beta I. That is second criteria for assessing the adequacy of model. The first one is use t-test for testing whether the regression coefficients beta naught, beta 1, beta 2 up to beta p are really significant or not. or there is another test, that is t-test, for testing the significance of individual beta I, and further the third one is to see the overall adequacy of the model can be tested by using your coefficient of determination, that is R square. So the first one is test for significance of regression coefficient is to test to determine if there is any linear relationship between your response variable x1, x2, xp and variable y, and any of the regressors x1, x2, xp are really significant or not. This can be tested by using your ANOVA table. So my H0 is all beta 1, beta 2 up to beta p is equal to 0 against at least one beta I is not equal to 0. Okay. So this can be tested using F test, and in order to have F test we are using analysis of variance technique. So here the total sum of squares SST is partitioned into two things, that is, for the first one is sum of squares of errors due to regression, that is SSR, and sum of squares due to residual, that is SSRES. Therefore under H0, when H0 is true, SSR upon sigma square, that is sum of squares of regression due to regression upon sigma square follows chi-square distribution with p degrees of freedom, and because there are total p regression estimates, the first regression estimate beta is your y-intercept, and therefore we will not consider it in this particular analysis. So SSR upon sigma square is chi-square with p degrees of freedom, and residual sum of square upon sigma square follows chi-square distribution with n minus p minus 1 degree of freedom, because totally we are estimating p plus 1, that is beta naught to beta p regression coefficients for fitting this model. Okay, and therefore what is your F? F is ratio of two chi-square variates divided by their respective degrees of freedom. So it is chi-square p upon p divided by chi-square n minus p minus 1 upon n minus p minus 1. So when you see this sigma square get cancelled from this particular equation, and therefore it is mean sum of squares due to regression and mean sum of squares due to residuals. So this follows F distribution with p n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom. So using this fact, we reject the null hypothesis H0 at 100 alpha% level of significance if F calculated is greater than table value of F at p n minus p minus 1 degree of freedom with alpha% level of significance. And what do you mean by rejection of H0? Rejection of H0 means there is at least one beta I which is non-zero, means there is at least one regressor in x1, x2, xp contributes significantly to the model in estimating the value of y. Okay. Therefore, in order to have this particular discussion in a short form, we will write ANOVA table as follows. In ANOVA, these particular 5 columns are always there. The first column is source of variation. Now source of variation is due to regression, source of variation due to error, and this is total variation in the model. And further, degrees of freedom are denoted by p, n minus p minus 1 and n minus 1 as we have discussed here. And these are residual sum of squares due to your regression estimates, and sum of squares due to residues, and this is total sum of squares. If you divide SSR by p, you will get mean sum of squares due to regression and mean sum of squares due to this residue, and therefore F ratio is equal to MSSR upon MSR, the mean sum of squares due to residual, that is this term. Okay, so this is your F ratio and when H0 is true. Again, the second thing which we can go for adequacy to test the adequacy of model is test of individual regression coefficients. So here there are p regression coefficients beta 1, beta 2 up to beta p, and therefore to test whether the contribution of regression xi is significant or not. So here individually we are going to test whether beta 1 is equal to 0, beta 2 is equal to 0 up to beta p is equal to 0. And for this we have again t test, which is beta I cap upon under root of sigma square, because under h naught your beta is 0, therefore beta I cap minus 0 upon under root of sigma square CII. This follows t distribution with n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom, where sigma square cap is estimated by mean residual sum of squares, and CII is I plus 1 diagonal element of x prime x inverse matrix, which is actually corresponds to beta I plus 1, okay, beta I cap. So again the same criteria we are going to use, that we reject h naught if calculated value of mod t is greater than t n minus p minus 1 degrees of freedom, and this is the rejection criteria. Further, one can check the adequacy of the model by using coefficient of determination, that is r square, and r square is obtained by 1 minus residual sum of squares divided by total sum of squares, and when this r is close to 1, then most of the variation of y is explained by your regression equation, and this is the thing which we are going to discuss in our lecture in Google Meet, how to compute adjusted residual sum of adjusted r square in order to check the validity of your regression model. Okay, so we will have again discussion as well as one real life example in order to discuss this theory in our Google Meet. Okay, so I will definitely schedule your Google Meet tomorrow or day after tomorrow in order to discuss this particular things which we have discussed up till now, and then we will go for the next lecture. Okay, thank you all of you.